Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif, an urban planner, and you're more than welcome to join my big journey of exploring the making of smarter and more livable cities. Please don't forget to follow Urbanistica on the different social media platforms, and also let's connect on LinkedIn. Big thanks to Urbanistica podcast partner AFRY. AFRY is an international engineering and design company providing sustainable solutions in the fields of energy, industry, and infrastructure. Are you ready for a new episode? Let's go for it. Today we have a new episode and we have a new great storyteller. I have the pleasure to welcome you, Lotta, to Urbanistica podcast. Hey, and welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Very excited.
I'm happy also. Thank you so much for giving your time to record this episode. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm so happy to be back to the office and to meet all the people and have the opportunity to be a part of this. This is super exciting.
How is it going at the AFRY office? Are people back now?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised now when people are here and people are so eager to come back and are happy, and it's a lot of happy faces, and that's really give a lot of energy, and that you always feel that you are a part of a bigger team instead of sitting at home, even if I think that have been, for me, it's okay. But it's, again, meeting people, and that's why to be a part of a bigger thing,
of course,
it's for me, it's very both energizing and important.
Yeah, especially the happy faces.
Yeah,
it's very important. But you also have I always see you like positive and happy, so you're also spreading a good energy around you.
Thank you. I'm trying, but I think I normally see the opportunities in things, and that's also one of my things to take care of the opportunities and do something about it, because we could do better all the time. Even if it's better, it could be better result. Of course, I need to say that since we are at AFRY, but it's also that we can do better for people. And again, I'm working with food and life science, and that's something that I've been interested for life, to improve quality of life, even if it's in the bigger or the small context.
Yeah, I would love to know more about you. The listener would love to know more about you. So how would you like to introduce yourself? Take us back in time. Tell us about your journey, where you grew up, education, career.
Okay, I'll make the long story short then.
No. Keep it with the interesting details.
I'm born and raised up in Västerås. It's about 100 kilometers from Stockholm. And for me, it was a very happy period, and it was a good place to grow up in. It was a small, big city from a Swedish perspective, but it was also an industrial town. So it was very boring when you're starting to be a teenager, and everything was closing down after 6 o'clock, and it was empty downtown. And for me, that was not, I don't like that, and it was a bit feeling like it was a dead city during the evenings. And I had a pleasure to have my aunt and uncle lived in Stockholm, and for me, when I come to Stockholm, it was another pulse, it was another way of living. People were out in the streets. Of course, I was a child, so everything was very exciting, and McDonald's was open and so on. But also in the closeness to the archipelago, you have the city, you have the very fancy stores, you have fancy restaurants, but you have a lot of culture. You have all the museums. I love the museums, and also then close to the water, and also the old town and things. It was a mixture.
So you moved to Stockholm.
Yeah. So that was sorry, I'm trying to come there. So I had that as a plan, and for me it was again, I think my brain wanted to have some more. And it was also the same when I went to London. Not the first time, but then I was 2 years and I don't remember everything. When I was 10, and again, it was a city with a lot of mixture. Yeah. And this is what attracts you. Yeah, so that's something. So when I was starting in university, KTH in Stockholm, I really wanted to move to Stockholm, but also I wanted to be an engineer. Okay. So that was also something that was not super clear for me from the beginning. For first, I thought I wanted to be a doctor or a nurse, wanted to be a part of that to be improving life.
Okay.
And then I was also said, perhaps working in a pharmacy and so on. And then I learned I didn't like to do the laboratories things so much.
Welcome to the club. Same here.
So I was about, perhaps not. Okay, I need to rethink. And then perhaps engineering, because that could be a mixture of the, and again, so at the, I really can't remember how I end up, but then I chose to start to study material technology.
Okay.
And ended up with to have a lot of more to the plastic, not much about the metallurgy. So that was the main thing for my program. And then did my master thesis at Pharmacia at that time, nutrition, and doing this plastic bags for nutritions.
Okay.
So you do that intravenous. So
yeah.
And then I started, I think I had the opportunity to work close to the hospitals, and also in a combination of food and life science, because then you had to mix all the nutrition. So some of the patients couldn't have the possibility to eat anything. So that was the only thing, that they get all the energy and the food. So that was something also in a way that I have. And before I started to study, also during my first year, I did this, like, I don't know the English word of it. It's a nurse assistant in the hospital in Västerås.
Okay.
So I did that for many, many summers. So,
wow.
So I've been close to that. So then I also understand the need both for the patient, but also for the people that work in the hospital, what can make a difference for them. But even if you develop a very, very nice package, then you should
you need to have like
you have to open it in a way.
Both perspectives. So before you continue, how was the move? Like, you moved from Västerås to Stockholm. Was it like a big panic? It's a big city, Stockholm, and like you started to miss your hometown?
No, I think but it's easy to go. Of course, I miss my hometown because I missed to be with some of my friends,
the people,
and my family, of course. But and what I learned quickly was that it was more convenient in Västerås. So it's
because of the distance within the city.
Yeah. So it was when you're going to IKEA, for example.
Yeah.
Then I normally still do when I visit my mother in Västerås, go to IKEA, or when I worked in Uppsala, I used IKEA in Uppsala instead of Stockholm, because that's a bigger project. So that's the backside of it. So that was I really learned and loved about Västerås at that time. It is still convenient, and you can bicycle. And even if it's a long distance in Västerås, it's very short from a Stockholm perspective. But I miss. But I really loved in Stockholm all the differentiation and all the different type of people. And when you're walking around downtown, it's totally different if you're close to Stureplan and you go to Södermalm, for example. And I really love the difference between that. So that was something. And during my time when I studied during the weekends, I forced my friends to walk with me, and we said, we have a project today. We are going to do Södermalm, and then we need to go to one museum and a new cafe.
Okay, so you had like goal to visit list. Yeah. That's amazing.
So that was also, so I learned to find my way in Stockholm by walking around, and that was really hard when I was starting to have my own car in Stockholm and trying to find my way. So then it was a bit more tricky. So that was for me how I learned about Stockholm, and then we take it more, not in the suburbs, but then I learned more about the nature and where to hike, because that's another thing. But I also like to do outdoors activities, hiking in that way. So, but so that's I'm engineer in that way, but I started in the Pharmacia packaging development, and in Stockholm, and then and we were doing develop this nutrition bags, and then it was one day my managers asked, "Can any one of you go to Uppsala, because Pharmacia was building a new plant?" And I went, "No, not go to Uppsala. It's so long." And I said, "Okay, I can try that because I'm new." And curious, that's my middle name. And I went to Uppsala, and when I went into, even if it was a pilot plant at that time, but when I entered the door into the production, something happens with me, because that's, okay,
this is for me.
This is the place to be.
Yeah.
And then after a few months, I could have the opportunity to change to be when they finalized the big plant that is Fresenius Kabi today. And that's, for me, it was the heart was beating in another way to be part of the production. So that's why I changed. So I couldn't see myself to be there, to love the machines and the equipment. And I know and normally people say, well, you are super crazy, because yes, I love stainless steel and I love the design of the equipment, because you need to have it in a hygienic way, so it's easy to clean when you produce drugs or medicines. And I really can never go past an equipment if you are allowed to touch it. It's not all the time you can do that, but I need to touch the welds. Because I understand
Are you addicted to?
Yeah, I am. I know. I try, and I say that, and then people are like, "You're kidding? No." So the stainless steel welds is the competence for the nice welds.
Like if we continue, you went to Uppsala, and what happened after? I want to follow like your journey until you're here.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I had the opportunity to spend some years to start the production for that facility, and also when Läkemedelsverket, the drug authority, that give you the license to start to produce.
Yeah.
And at that time, one of my best friends, he was working at AFRY. He contacted me. This is a true story.
Yeah.
He contacted me and said, okay, hello, Lotta, we need to have...
Before you continue, OF for the listeners, like the old AFRY.
Yeah.
Before they changed the brand.
Yeah.
So OF is like the old AFRY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the days.
So he called you?
And he said, we need to have a project manager that have the experience in life science. So what do you think? And then I said, okay, consultancy. That could be interesting, because I'm curious and I want to do new things.
Yeah.
And because otherwise I get bored. New things, and it could be all over the place. Yeah, I like that. I like when I don't know what the next step will be. So I started at OF, former old name of AFRY. So I was, and then I was, okay, we really need to start as soon as possible, because we need, one of our life science customers really need a project manager. Okay. The first 2 years was at Ericsson, 2 different assignments. And then I learned time to market, because when working within the life science industry, it's focusing on quality, and we should be super happy for that. Because,
of course.
But at Ericsson, it was time to market.
Okay.
So with that, I learned in a way to, okay, you can have them both, but you need to try, you need to do it in a smarter way.
Exactly.
And you need to be brave and do the risk assessment and the risk mitigation. But after that 2 years, I was back to my backyard again at former Pharmacia, Pfizer in Uppsala. So then I did a few years as a consultant there, and then I had the opportunity to go to one of our competitors to start up the project manager department there. Yeah. So then I was back in Uppsala again, and that is, and then I stayed for 10 years. This is former QMed and Galderma, producing aesthetics products like fillers and so on. So that's so it had different positions.
So after the 10 years, you joined AFRY again, or
no?
How was?
Then I was at.
How many years did you work?
No, you don't want to know. No, but then I with the former owner of QMed and so on in that context has invested in a lot of companies, and they needed to have a new CEO.
Okay.
To take this research company to the next level. And then I then I was taking on that assignment. So I was CEO for Olink for 2 years to take that to the next step. And then I needed to decide what to do when I grew up. And then was one of the guys from OF that has sold me a lot of consultants during the year. We had a meeting that day when I was going to inform him that I'm going to leave this company. Yeah. And he said, Lotta, now it's time to come back to OF. And I said, okay, you never know. And at that time, it was a good timing for me, since that was when we do this making future strategy and a new organization. So then I said, okay, I can start a conversation with OF. And for me, it was just long shot, but I'm very grateful and
That's
super
awesome.
happy to be back. So now it's more than 4 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So now you're the head of business unit, you call it, or division?
Business unit, no, business area food and pharma.
Business area.
It's a part of Industrial Digital Solution division.
Yeah. So tell us, tell the listeners, what does it mean when you say these areas about food and life science? What does it mean?
We are supporting our customers with mainly production lines and assignments and projects for the production, not for product development.
Can you simplify it for me?
I will do. When we're talking about product development, if you're talking for life science, then it's drug development. We don't do any drug development. We don't do the clinical studies that you need to do to have approved drug. But in some way, we can support some of the customers at doing laboratory services and so on. But then we do it at their labs. We don't have that.
Okay.
And from a food perspective, we are not doing any food product development. Sometimes we can support some of our customers to do some tests on lab, but it's nothing that we do. So that's why I'm saying production. So so we can do just anything when we're talking about professional services, assignments with experts, that it could be doing in process optimization, installation of equipment, but also that we have doing turnkey projects. And a few example is with what we do in food is that we are taking care of designing the oat base for Oatly, for example. So that we have done that for their plant in Landskrona in Sweden, 2 of the plants in US, in Netherlands, and we've just finalized in Singapore and China. So then we do the design of the oat base and also the procurement, automation, installation, commissioning. And
so it's more about the hardware, right? Not real development of the food.
No,
but more of the infrastructure, the machines, and Is it
Yeah.
Is it right? What I
it is. Yes, that's you're explaining it in another word. So that's a better. So we don't we are not taking care of the quality. We need to ensure the quality within the production lines that we deliver in that way. And it could also be. And in Sweden, we have more professional services that we have in our other countries because we have another way of. We are not hiring people in the same because it's not so easy to get rid of them. It's a bit blunt. So that's why the company in Sweden use consultants as an add-on instead of hiring people themselves.
Yeah, so because it's easier for a contract for a few years or a few months and then.
And we are about 480 employees and main part in Sweden, but also a big team in Denmark. A team in Norway, Estonia, and 3 in Finland and 1 in Switzerland.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Do you work cross countries, or how is it now? More local projects?
But it's a mix. With the food, the business unit that's focusing on food, they're doing cross countries, and some of it within life science. But otherwise, we are very close to our customers. So here in Mälardalen, we have AstraZeneca in Södertälje and Cytiva in Uppsala, for example. And in Denmark, we're also close to the customer Novo Nordisk, for example, Kalundborg or Copenhagen. So it's a mixture. We need to be close to the customers, and sometimes I feel we are their engineering department for many of them.
So food, I understand. What does it mean? But what is life science?
The name of the life science is it's a collection of companies that do a drug, medicines, and it's also biotech that could be a part of a medicine, but also, and then we have medical device, and a medical device could be everything from X-ray equipment to implant. Like a filler, for example, it's a medical device.
Okay.
So a medical device do not have an active ingredients as they have in the medicine. When you take your pill for headache, then you have the pill, but it's just a small part of it that is the active ingredients that take away the so that's so in medical device you don't have that type of intelligence, so to say. So that's the reason. So it could be, so it's a broad perspective of everything. So sometimes you say pharmaceuticals, you can say drugs, you can say medicines. So it's more it's a bit of the same words for but different from the beginning. I think it was broader. For now we have narrowed it down, since you have the biologics in a way, as if you take the vaccines, for example.
Yeah.
So that's when you're mRNA, then you have it's more biologics as well. So everything is within life science.
Yeah. So is it true that like we are getting older, larger population, and wealthier? Really?
Yeah. It is, and it's. So just let me ask you a question then. Yeah. So how old do you think, what the researchers say today, how old can we be for the people that have been born today?
Are we talking about Sweden?
Are we talking? Yeah, I think it's...
Or in general worldwide, I put everyone.
The possibility.
Like 70? Is it good? Close?
No, I think that the oldest, what I said, I can't remember all the details, but the possibilities today with the welfare that we have, and the research for all the drugs and so on, and also the devices. Then it said that the first human being have been born that can be 200 years. 200. For me, it's super crazy to think about
200.
200. And then I was attending in Medicon Village. It's a life science cluster in Lund a few years ago, and then it was a mixture of experts, both from the medical part, but also from developing pharmaceuticals and so on. And then we had, I can't remember the name of the seminar, but the main question was also how old can we be? And when with all the experts, they said, okay, if it's of course it's theoretical, but it said they say 150 years. And then it was over. I don't know. And then you're thinking of 150, and all the old people that you know, they are not that well, or
like if we talk physically, even mentally, like
so it could be a mixture of that. And then and everybody thought, 150, nice. Then I could be, then I can have And then one said, okay, but then we have the economical perspective of it, and then said, okay, if we are starting to have the average of more of 150 or something close to that. I don't think we will have the average for that, but today in Sweden is about 80. So, and then one of the experts said, okay, but then in Sweden we need to work until we are 113 due to the pension system. And everyone was, okay.
No.
So this is a bit interesting, but it's also scary.
Yeah, right. Okay, it's for me, it's like I cannot even think about it now, like 150. But like, what does the reality tell us? Like now, 80, 90 in Sweden?
In Sweden, it's have increased more or less ever since the beginning of the beginning of the 19th century. And then was due to that we're starting to use the vaccine for the smallpox. We grow the potatoes. And in Sweden, we had no war. So it was the peas, potatoes, and the vaccines.
So these are the three key elements that made us feel good.
For 300 years ago.
Wow.
Or 200 years ago. And then also that we started in the whole world, like small things like the doctor starting to clean the hands between the different patients. Instead of taking all the bacteria with them. So it's small, just example of small steps. Today, it's that we have, we know the biologics in the body much better, so we can do this, what we call precision medicine. So instead of just having one pill, headache pill, because I think you and I, even if we have headaches, it's totally different, and we have totally different bodies and all of that. And now the doctors or the research can develop something that is just for you, instead of have a broad,
giving you unnecessary.
Instead of, because
medicine.
A lot of it, when you take your pill for the headaches, you receive a lot of other things that's not perhaps needed for you. And that's still the same. And again, it's we have today, many of us can choose what food we want to eat.
True.
Not just the only thing that is, but I know that it's...
Not only potato.
No, and we can choose. And it's also that today we also have, talking a bit about food, it's a lifestyle, because you want to stick out because I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. So
no.
We,
like the different groups.
we can choose. And that's more, instead of just 50 years ago, even in Sweden, you were happy if you have food on the table. And I know that there's a lot of people in the world still struggles with that. And also in Sweden. I mean, I'm not saying that it's everyone, but in general, it's much better. It's not that, and also both in the whole world. So we have, in that case, we can choose what to eat. And that sometimes it's not good for us, because then we choose the too much candy or whatever in that way. So that's one of the things. And we also have a better economy to do that. That's the reason why we can do that. That's why I'm saying we can get older and we are getting wealthier. And we have better drugs, we have better food, we have all the functional food, we know what we are eating, we are what we are eating. We
can calculate every single calorie, protein, and everything.
And know about that. And we don't need to, of course, we have today the biggest risk for us is the stress factor compared to 50 years ago again, or when you were worn out because you have much harder work. Today we need to go to the gym. We need to do that because the body need to have all that exercise in a way. So we are a bit gambling. We are still gambling with ourselves.
I understand. So it's true that we are getting like popular and larger population and wealthier.
And that also means that we need to be careful with the resources
that we have on this planet.
So that's, and also think when we are talking about food, and I think that we learned during the corona with the supply chain.
How was it? Tell me, because I was hearing like on different podcasts, it was like a big problems with the supply chain all around the world.
Because we stopped shipping things, and then also that people were sick, and we needed to prioritize, and we needed to take care about our own within the countries and so on. So it was a lot of factors with that. And I think that's instead of, we are so used to just click on internet and receive things from China. So we just order and get stuff. I don't thought about that.
No.
And also, again, I think, so that was a good reminder about if we can't receive things from, even if it was between Norway and Sweden, to take a close example, when we are used to get things there from time. So how can I survive without getting things? So is it that I need to have this, need to do my own, in my own backyard, have potatoes? So we take that example again. And also what was discussed, I think that's not only in Sweden, but I was listening to that we need to see that how we can do some, instead of getting avocados or bananas from other side of the world, we are developing other type of beans.
Okay.
So just to have, because we foreseen in some way that we can't continue to
import.
And also to see that since we are getting a larger population, perhaps there are no avocados to be shipped to Sweden. Or if we ship them to Nordics or whatever in US, I don't know, that can pay for it, of course. But at the end of the day, the people that lives close to the avocados, they need to eat something.
They are the prior.
Yeah.
But how are we going to deal with this? Because we have limited resources, and then we are growing as a population. How do we deal with this? Like, should we go to Mars and leave this planet?
Yes, let's go. Sorry, I think we need to take some bold decisions. Like say, okay, in Sweden, I take Sweden as an example today. Then, just as an example, we say we don't import any more avocados, or say stop to do. I love avocados, so it's not something So it's just
it's like an example. When you mention like groups or type of fruit, it's not like you mean something, but it's like just a reference or example.
Because this is at the case that I listened to was avocado and bananas, because this is a lot of
it's popular.
And it's healthy. But I think we need to have a plan B for what is the second choice of avocado that we can grow close to us, instead of having a long supply chain, but also to use the soil that we have here. And that we need to, and because avocados, if we are going to grow avocados, we need to have more energy, because you have to need more sunshine and it's need to be warm. So that's not.
So it's like you cannot just grow avocado here, because like the things are not suitable.
No.
So how do you deal with that? You just stop eating, or what?
No, we need to choose some other instead of alternative, and also to develop more other plants that can grow in our environmental, but also grow quickly, so that we can have it in a fast way. But it still need to have the same amount of vitamins or energy or what is needed. And that's and it's good that we are looking into that in these different aspects, but it's still in the research phase. But we need to talk about that. We need also to I'm not saying that everyone should stop eating avocados, but we need also to think to have this plan B. If I can't have any avocado, for me, I need to have a banana in my yogurt every morning. That's another passion. No, and it's okay. If I don't have the banana, what can I have instead? And just to have that and try to do new things instead, because it doesn't mean that it needs to be worse. It's just different, because we are so used to our habits, and that's what I think that we need to what is important for me, and what can I also live without to support. And again, to take the bold decisions, I think I can't do it by myself. I need to do it together with, and because now we are in a situation that it's not, of course, small things starting to make a difference, but you need, when I say bold decision, it's about, okay, we stop doing this, we are doing this instead. And then you need to do things together. And even it's not within the food and life science, but I think the joint venture with Hybrid, the stainless, no, not the fossil-free steel, not the stainless, you see my passion is, like LKAB, SSAB and Vattenfall are doing for the moment. This is a bold decision, and they are doing it together. And what
are they doing?
They are developing and producing fossil-free steel.
Okay.
So that's a game changer.
This is something big, no?
Yeah, that's a game changer for the steel industry and also for the environmental. So I think we need to be better on that, and that's so. And again, that's also since the last 10 years, if you go to the supermarket, and especially within the dairy, you can see it's thousands of milk, and it's thousands of yogurts and whatever, because it's personalized. And we are getting used to that. And when we are getting used to that and go back to just to have a few things,
it's difficult.
So that's, I think that we need to, we can't just only have, we need to give something. And also again, that with all this very nice, even if I'm starting up as a packaging developer, I love nice packaging, always looking at that. But again, now when we are, I think a lot of us are starting to, okay, when I'm buy things on internet, what should I do with all these packagings? Is this really good, even if it's very convenient? And again, in the supermarket with all the nice packagings and so on, perhaps we are in the way we are starting to coming back when it was my grandparents was small, when they went to the buy milk, they have this bottle with them.
Yeah, they fill it in.
Yeah, and so on. You can see that in some stores, that you can have your own packaging with you. And I think we need to go there, because even if I still love very nice packaging and I feel very luxury when I have touch it, but that's also things that we need to start change for the moment.
In order to save the resources that we have,
and to be able to take use the resources for what is needed.
Okay.
Because we also, and also to say, but also what do we need? For some we need a lot of things to have a life, because if we are playing smart, we could also have a long life with the luxury in a way.
Do you believe, like, or you can update me because I'm not like have so much information about this, that produce food in the laboratories, you know, like I can produce avocado here in Sweden. What do you think? Is this something real happening or no? Are we not there?
Yes, we are there. We are. Okay. And again, we're talking about plant-based food.
What is it?
And it's instead of plant-based, it's when you're using plant-based proteins instead of meat. So that's been very popular the last years, but now I can see, especially I've seen it mostly in US, that the meat is coming back again. So don't quote me on that, but it's still, and it's also, we're talking some about blue food. Blue food, it's what is within the sea. It could be when they have land-based fish farms, for example. You can also have alternative to fish, and also you can use the plants and also other animals within the sea. Use that instead of meat from the cows, for example. It's the main when you're talking to have less meat is normally the cows we are talking about. Case.
So this is happening that like we are producing food even if we don't have like the sun, we don't have the soil.
So it's a lot of startups that's looking into alternative proteins within both plant-based but also blue food. So we are supporting some startups and customers with that.
Can you tell us more about like?
If I can give an example of a customer or just
of a startup and what they do, like
they are in the main challenging for them it's to have the right texture, that it's because we as a human being, we are used to things, and when you eat something you will have you want it to feel the same in the mouth, and that's the main challenging, to have to find the right texture. So so it feels like this is a normal feeling in my mouth.
Okay, like if they made a copy of a banana or a meat.
Instead of just have, it tastes like banana. It's I don't know if it's the same if you drink carrot juice. Because then it's something happened within it.
Exactly.
I feel it's carrots, but I want to have the texture. So that's just
so the challenge is that how they make it like close enough to the real, the reality, like the real.
So that's, but they even use other more sustainable, friendly alternatives. But we still want to have the same texture. We want to recognize the thing. So that's one, and then also to scale up in the production, because it's in a way easy to do it in a lab.
Of course, like you have one.
And then you should do it 3 times, and then perhaps you need to do it 1,000 times because you want to have the business case.
Of course,
for it. So that's the type of thing that we support the customers with, to look into the production lines, also the logistics.
Can you tell me more, because this is very interesting, especially like within our cities. Tell me, like what is a production line, and then like the logistic, and how does things work?
A production line could be, if you're talking about life science, then we have this, we're talking about active ingredients, when we're talking about drugs. That could be produced, that's often a powder. So that's, you do some molecules and you make a powder of it, and then you have it as a raw material, and then you take this bulk into the, and then you can do it as make tablets, and then and that's another production line. Then you make the tablets, and then you package in the blister, as you know, when you go to the, and then you have a carton.
Exactly.
And then you put this into a box. And then you send this box to the customers or to a warehouse or something. And that could be it. And mainly it's when you release a product from AstraZeneca, for an example, then it goes to a distributor.
Yeah.
And then it distributes to the pharmacies or worldwide or whatever. So that's
so this is what like you in AFRY planning or doing the strategy and the plan and how it looks like and so on.
And also from also to see the best layout for the production plant. Normally, the customer already have a building, and they want to squeeze in something new.
Okay, like a factory or
yeah. So that's what we call a brownfield project. And it's normally, when I say squeeze in, it's about, okay, we have this very small area, and we need to have it in that, and we can't change anything. So that's because it could be also from the investment money, but also from when it's life science, then you have your requirement that you have been sent into the authorities like FDA, for an example. And if you change anything in the production line, you need to get your approval again. So even if sometimes you feel that the pharmaceutical industries they are boring and they don't see the opportunity, they do, but they also need to ensure how to implement the changes.
Yeah.
So the bigger changes they do, there's effects. It could be up to 6 months, 12 or 18 months to get the approval from the authorities. And then it's just for one country.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have for another country, and then it's going to be more in line now.
Yeah.
But that's and from how we're supporting our food customers today. It's when we're talking about production again, and we take Oatly. I can talk about this since we have done the press release. It's that we are at that case we are taking care of some of the production line, but we are not responsible for building the house.
Okay.
They are doing that by themselves or another. And in Singapore, for example, there was already existing house, and this was and the production line was implemented on the 10th floor.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then this is equipment that I can't remember the weight of it, but it's super big stainless steel things. It's very heavy to get that in on the 10th floor. So it's So that's another
challenge.
And then it's the logistics for that when you need to open up the wall to get the things in, and you need
and then they close them and so on. So this is like a typical project that you draw the production line and you decide which are the machines or what, right? Or how is it?
Yes, I think that, and it's and it could be also some of designing the size of the filter and the vessels, and also the mixing part, and and that. But we are not building them. You just like the prototype, and then they produce. No, we don't do any prototypes either. Okay. We say that we need to have a vessel that is 100 liters or something like that, and then we need to have this pump or this filter, and because we know that this is needed for that, so that's the design, and then we procure that, and sometimes it could be some type of development together with the supplier in that case. And how do you see now, like, do we have more kind of, can I call it like factories within the city, or no, they still out of our cities, because you're also from Västerås, and you have a big story with this kind of. So I'm used to that, to have the factories in the city, and I also talking about Uppsala. Then it was, even if that time when Pharmacia started to build the factories, it was a bit outside, and now it's more or less in the middle of Uppsala. So that's, and I think if you're talking about personal, the vision, I think it's not only mine. It's when you're guessing about the personalized medicine, then I think, and if we can foresee that the hospitals have small plants just outside, that they can do this type of personalized medicine, because that's what I can foresee in a way. So at Karolinska, perhaps you have some modules that you can do the switch inside to see that you can produce. So like small scales laboratories within the cities, but the big factors actually out of cities. And I think so, because we consider factories that it's not a nice thing.
Yeah, like what we imagine, like with the smokes and, a lot of trucks.
So we want to have that. So if we could, in a way, develop nice, I know that the colleagues within our infrastructure have lovely designs of some of the factories you can see that this is a factory. Let's take the land-based fish farms in Switzerland, for example. It's looked like it's part of the environment.
Yeah.
If we can do that, and then we have, it's easy, and if not doing any risky products, because then we have the safety in that case, or from a fire perspective or something like that. Because otherwise, I think it's good to have it as close as possible, so people don't need to commute, and you need to have the life balance in a way, instead of have a lot of traffic or whatever needing in that way.
Yeah.
But it's hard to have the area.
Yeah, exactly. But like this is who should work with this, because you told me it's about like how the production lines, and also it's about the architecture and the urban planning. Like how do you fit this kind of this function that producing food or medicine within the city? So it's a challenge, no?
It is, and it's also that I think it's a combination that we want to be close to an airport or to a harbor for transportation, both to get the raw material in, and to have that in bigger city, it's very expensive to buy or to find the land.
You mean like in the downtown?
Yeah. So that's something I think in cooperation with the cities, to say that we are interesting to have this, because then we feel that we will be attractive, because then we have a lot of work opportunities, and we will also arrange, I'm just making up, a kindergarten, and we have the school, and we have some shops, and in a way, so
so you believe that we can combine this kind of functions, like production, building with the production, with other like function, let's say, as you mentioned, schools or football field or restaurant. Do you see this works together?
Yes, I can see that, and why I'm just thinking a bit is also that it's good to have to do to get your brain to see something else when you're going home from work. So in a way, but the convenience, and I think that we like the convenience, and I think that's it for Monday to Friday, and then we can do the more experienced or exciting things, or looking into new things. Because if we have areas that we can meet after work, that it's easy for both growing up and children to be, and I think that's something that I don't see that much in Sweden, that I can see just in south of Europe, that you have this place that it's grandparents, small children, all these different generations, and it's playgrounds, and it could be a bit of cafe, the elder men playing cards, and so on. And I think find areas like that, because then it's you learn from the generation, both from the old and the young one, and also you have an easy way of enjoying yourself. Instead of you. And of course, there will always be people that don't want to do the bungee jump and climb the mountains and so on, or just being at home, listen to music and don't meet anyone. But find a mixture of that you have, this is working area, close by, you have amusement park in a very super simple way, not that I'm going to Heron City or whatever, or
like a mixed use area. But like also part of that why maybe we don't have factors, because like the noise pollution, there are a lot of big cars driving, and that's why. So how do you imagine in the future we can design better production lines that it fits within our cities, that not really disturbing the people around? Like imagine I am sitting in the park, next to this park in the downtown, there's like a factory producing, let's say, food or medicine. But then like every time there's a truck coming in, driving out, and I hear the noise, I will not be in that park. So what is your vision or idea about how we solve this kind of challenges?
Good question. for me, I think we have, and again, how can we transport things? I think that it's the supply chain that it's the thing to solve in that way, because I think the production lines could be more efficient and could be smaller and not that
like the one on the 10th floor.
Yeah.
Who knows that there's something happening up there?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. So, but I think that's how we can do the supply and how to handle that. And if that's underground things, I don't know, or is we doing that special time during the day?
Yeah.
Or find ways to do that, or we just we leave the things at certain place, and then it's electrical cars or bikes that take care of it, that it doesn't
like a
annoy
silent
you.
Yeah, exactly.
That not want to annoy you when you're sitting in the park.
Because also it's a question about the traffic, let's say I cannot have my children playing in the street if there's like a lot of traffic going out and in from that building.
No. And then you get no. So I think it's a tricky one, and but I believe that we can solve it. Yeah. But I don't really have all the answers in a way, because otherwise we will have this sleeping cities.
Yeah.
Instead of having
exactly, because now what's happening, like you have all the factories out. And you have the city, the restaurants, the bars, and everything is in downtown. So cities do not like dies, factories, the areas, and then it's like not a livable city all the time.
No, so I really hope that we can not go in a way going back to the small cities when you can have everything. We have small cities in the city.
Yeah,
and I think that's what we are doing. I can see it now. I take Frösön as an example, just close by the Solna office. It's a small city in the city, and also Hammarby Sjöstad. I think it's another example. Both and you have everything, but then also close by, to the city. But do you then need the city if you have the small city in the city? So it's
what do you think we can do with all the huge industrial area? Can we make them livable, or no? They are just there for production. That's it.
It's so much depend on if it's not any for security reasons and all the fences and so on. It's some of the production areas should be left alone because they are producing things that it's not.
Yeah.
So that, but otherwise, I think it's having the architectural, let's look attractive. And if it's look attractive, then you don't think, okay, this is an industrial area, I don't want to be here. And then you could have, in a way, when you're passing by from going home, to have some, okay, we can do some shops or restaurants, or also that you have close by some schools or something like that. But then they need to be nice architecture. You need to have a surrounding, perhaps some forests, some parks. You need to frame it in a more attractive way than just this old industrial areas that it's looking, oh no, I don't want to go there. It's you feel about I just want to escape.
Yeah, I just want to go away from this. Do you because now there's a lot of talks and also like actions going on within the vertical farming within our cities. You work with food. Do you see this is something going to happen in our cities, that we really gonna be self-sustainable? We produce our food within our cities because we have our vertical farms and so on. What do you think?
The easy answer for that, yes, we need that.
Okay, we need that, but is this going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And I know that there are some ideas, and we are in some discussions, not so much in Sweden, but in Switzerland, for an example. And I think we are so, and it's also depend on how much opportunities you have. In Sweden, we have a lot of forest, we have a lot of land that we can do things on. And in countries where then you need to invent something.
Yeah.
So I think that will definitely happen. And but with many of us, still me, as one of them, think that this is a super crazy idea, since we are used to that. We have the farmers and we do things like that.
Like we need like a large area to produce, but not really the vertical within cities.
Yeah, but I think just within the 2 years we will have another mindset, and you can see it. And you need to have some people dare to starting up, and to get it run it. And I think when we're sitting here in 5 years, then it's about the vertical farming.
Exactly. Yeah. But this needs to be there. We need to change our mindset, right? How do we do that? Like how do we convince people that we need to do this instead of how we usually do now?
As always, change management is tricky. in a way, you need to. It's a combination of fool people not in a positive way, but also to understand we need to do something different, and it's not to scare people with that, to say, okay, we have an opportunity if we need to use it more, if we need to do, what can we do? And then of course it's always the backside of it's about, okay, then I will be obsolete. What have been doing? Perhaps, and I think we will need to have both. So I don't think that anything will be obsolete. This will be an opportunity, and also that we will have another business that hopefully it could be more environmental for both perspective, both the current and also the future, to inspire each other in a way instead of being scared. How can we do it together, and how can my knowledge? How can the new things piggyback on my knowledge? And that will, instead of just, okay. But it's again, new things is scaring.
Of course.
But for me, it's more, again, we can't stop listening. We need to do it. And it's just to embrace it, and also to find a way of working with people that both have the money and also have the courage to dare to do it, and ask them and also to see instead of, because some of it feels like science fiction, and we had when I had what I call Food and Pharma BA broadcasting, we have that quarterly when we have for the full BA, and then we have a question about what was from a science fiction movies, that it was back in the days, how we could type of medicines and so on, and now it's for real.
Exactly.
Again, and we need to ensure that it's only our imagination and our knowledge for today that stops us.
Exactly.
So it's
because now what I'm thinking about when you're talking about like the future, we produce different let's say things, because we collect from this protein, we collect from this kind of what do you call it, nutrition. Do you think in the future we will produce it at home? Like I saw in the movie, you take one peel and that's enough. You don't need to eat apple, banana, and yogurt. It's enough with one peel. So, and by this we save a lot of land, we save a lot of resources. Is this something we are going to do, or no? This is just in the movies.
I think a lot of people would be happy to just take the pill because they are not interested in cooking. They don't think
like here.
Just
save a lot of time. Also,
yes, I have 2 pills and then I'm off, and then I can go for training or go out to movie or whatever.
Exactly.
And other people want love to cook, and also that together around the meal, because even if we eat because we need to eat, and often we eat because we like it, but also the main thing is to gather around the meal.
The social activity.
Yeah, so it's just, okay, we take 2 pills and then we are out.
Yeah.
So that could be in some context and with some groups, because then you just take your pill and then you go do whatever you like to do that day, if it's para jumping or whatever, because then it's super convenient. But I think we still want to gather, and it's so easy to just to meet over a cup of coffee, or so I think that this is a strong need that even if we don't like to cook or are interested in cook, and it doesn't matter, okay, just serve me a decent meal, thank you.
Yeah.
Then you can see we have this the meal kits that is coming home that you can order, and because you get inspired, and some of them you need to start from scratch. Some of them are you can choose that it's more or less just to warm or just to do the finalized thing.
Yeah.
And now also that during the pandemic, we learned that it's a lot of takeout food, and another way, also something that is called ghost food that has.
What is it?
So this is like food trucks that popping up. I just saw one outside Solna Centrum. I didn't just the other day, and then it's not famous but known restaurants that are just have a food truck, and then people can come and pick the food in an easy way in the parking space.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so this will be a combination, because during the pandemic we learned that, and again, people started to cook food again, and we also get back to the comfort food. What did I eat as a child? What made me feel happy? Because we need to have some comfort within this not so nice period, and it was a scary period. And another just learn, okay, now it's more convenient to just click on Uber Eats or Foodora or whatever.
Yeah, or order.
Yeah, and to get, so I think we want to have it, but we still want to gather around the food. And again, what I said previously, and it's also a bit of a lifestyle. Okay, I'm eating this super fancy, or I'm just doing this super high potent protein or whatever thing smoothie. That's my
this is me, like how
how I brand myself.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, absolutely, we can just live by get all the things with the pill.
But is it true? Like, is it going to happen? Like, if my kids or me, will I see something like this in the shop, that I just go and buy one pill, I take it, and I don't need to have lunch because I have everything in this pill?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Is it possible? Yes, it's possible.
Okay.
So if you think about, but I think it will be. I think it just won't be one pill. I think it will be
like a combination.
But also when I'm talking about when I starting to work at Pharmacia, when we do this, then it was nutrition bags. Then it was a big, about 20 times 30 centimeters.
Okay.
With 3 different parts of it that was then was welded between them. But it was fat in one, and it was sugar in another, and salt. But and then you also can inject vitamins into that bag, and other any other things that was needed. And then you break the welds between it, and then you have a mixture. And then it was, if you have that 2 or 3 times per day, then you have received your full.
Like what your body needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you it's possible.
It's possible. Yeah. But then, as you mentioned, it's more about the experience, the gathering, the social activities, rather than just like eating.
Yeah. So just to sit down, have a cup of coffee, have a good laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. So, like, what are the challenges that the industry is facing now?
I think it's. If you're looking today, it's a lot of things going on especially within the life science industry. So from now, it's resources, competence. So we have been said that we are for engineers for a while, but within especially in the Nordics, what we can see now, it's hard to find competence because everyone is investing. It's a lot of investments going on. So both for doing the produced things, but also for building new lines and develop that. So that's one thing.
Like, you mean we don't have smart people for this? Or
we don't have any people.
Really?
If it's
Why?
not smart.
Like,
because
we have, like, how to say, school programs and
yes, we have
universities.
Yes. And now and I think one thing to solve that is need to trust young people or not that super experienced, and find a way of combination to use the senior together with the junior. And a typical question from our customers, I think we want to have a super senior, some know our
that know everything.
Yeah, and it's very cheap as well. But and I think that have been that until just a year ago. Then it's about it's not possible. Even if we do whatever, either we or our competitors can't find, or the customers can't find people to recruit either. So now it's about, how can we do that? So we are with one of our customers, we are discussing how we can do this training together. We find juniors and take our seniors to train them or to do some combinations with that in a way, instead of, if you take what we say, validation engineer, that's within life science, that you validate is when you have installed the equipment, you do some technical testing that you say, this is the critical thing that you need to be super secure that it's function. This is what you're going to submit to the authorities.
Okay.
So this is, sometimes you feel, not the validation it's a bit boring and it's an end of, and the technical things working, but you need to have to do this. It's a super skill. And that's what we are lacking for, to have experience in that.
People.
And that's nothing you can't read. You can, of course, theoretically read it at the university. Yeah. But you need to be out there to understand the equipment, touch it, feel it, to know, and also to learn. So the juniors could be more the secretary, and the senior could say, okay, this is good enough, you can do this. Yeah. But that's a shift. Just 1 year ago. And then I think and also the industries need to know if they are going to have big batches, as we have done. We are doing these headache pills, and that's what we are doing. We're doing the headache pill instead of, now we're going for more personalized. Then we don't do the big batches.
Yeah, now we
then
need
it's just the small batches. It's the same within the food industry. If we take the dairy products again, even if it's still a yogurt, is it with banana, strawberry, or with extra protein,
which flavor,
with less fat, with more fat.
But does it mean that we need to send more factories, or what?
You need to have a flexible factory, and you need to have a very, very quick changeover when you're changing the recipe. You need to have a very quick cleaning set up for that.
Okay.
So that's also, or should you have smaller batches? Is it better to have more a smaller production line with smaller volumes, or should you have one big? But so this is, I think, and now it's and again for life science, if you're talking about, and then we take the headache pill again. Yeah. This is we have had for many years, so 100 years, and now we're talking of biologics. This is a total different type of production things. So some of the industries today knows that, we will be obsolete within the coming years, because still some of the current products, of course, we will use them, but there will come others. And what will the production line look like then? Okay. So then it's a lot of antibodies and so on in another way instead of chemical molecules. So it's a total.
So now, like your AFRY team, how to say, being creative and thinking about, how does the future of production lines look like? Should it be like small volumes or like flexible and so on?
So I think this is also a headache for us, because we are competent in the current way of doing it. With I'm using the stainless steel equipment production line. Yeah, and for the future with the biologics and single use, when you just do it once, perhaps.
What will you do with the?
So
this is very interesting.
So that's totally another way of doing the setup for the production.
But we are going towards more personalized food and medicine.
We are already there. Yeah,
we are already there, and this puts the pressure on the business that you need
and also, and again, yes, something like personal medicine. You also need to have, it's another type of business model for the industry, because it will be very expensive. Yeah. But But at the end of the day, if that's really cure you or not just easing up for you, then you don't need to go to hospital anymore, because then you're cured instead of we are doing smaller things for you all the time. And that's also be a part of that business model.
Yeah.
But it's a huge amount of money to produce.
Yeah. But like now, Lotta, when you're talking, I see like big things happening, like a big amount of money investing, big change. This needs a kind of special leadership. So what kind of leadership do we need in order like to save the resources we have, in order to make a better future?
I think I see it's a combination of new thinking, but also to leaders that can continue to do what is already good, because we can't change everything at the same time. But leaders that adopts the new thing and not scared for that again. And again, I think it's since you can't understand all the things, you can't understand how a vaccine works, or you can't understand what a personalized medicine is, because we need to trust each other. And that's, I think that's, again, we need to find people that we trust and work together with, and that's instead of being, okay, I'm the one and I need to know everything. It's way too complicated, because I can't be the expert on the medicine and also be the expert of running a production plant, or be the expert of taking care of the employees, or taking care of the business model, or the investors, and so on. So again, I think we need to have leaders that can see the big picture and also rely upon and trust people. And also don't fear for the things that they don't understand. So now I'm happy to talk to you. I learned a lot, and I think there is much more to learn, of course. And hopefully, like we talk with you in the coming episode as well. Now we are in the final section of this episode. It's going to be more about you, your relation to the city. Are you ready? Okay, I hope so.
Yeah. So from urban planning and design perspective, what makes you happy in your city?
We're talking about Stockholm. Then it's the combination of open areas for like the parks, and also the easiness to go to theaters and so on, and also that you can walk or take the bike into the city center.
That's nice.
So that's for me, and it have nice architectural how this is you have thought about when you have created new parts of it, or when going downtown Stockholm to see the old houses and so on. But I think for me it's super necessary to have that you can walk and take the bike,
like a walkable or bikeable city. What makes you sad?
When I look at the traffic jam. And some it's all cities, and if you take Stockholm and Västerås for example, a lot of things was tear down during the 60s or something, and everybody, it was better before and now it's look awful. But I think we need to develop and again, but sometimes I feel, okay, how did they thought about this type of, but for me it's about interesting, because that was state of the art at that point.
Exactly.
And you need to and this is also interesting. So why do I don't like it? Why do I like this better than that in the way of it? So it's again, I think it's tricky to have a big city without any traffic jam, and it's just wishful thinking. But I think that's that make me sad. Talking.
Okay. So what should urban planners stop doing when they plan cities?
I think that's very, very difficult question for me, because I think, again, if you have the holistic view of it, and of course everyone won't be happy. that's the normal deal for everything. But again, if I put it in the other direction, instead of continue to look into these areas that we can meet in a simple way, as I previous talk about, I say playhood, but even again, the children can play. It's a cafe, elderly people dare to go there and so on, easy things, a cup of coffee, playing cards or whatever. It's super simple social. Sometimes it's, I don't know, some band playing or something like that, or you can play the bowl or whatever. It's a super simple in the way of meeting. And I think that's what we learned during the pandemic. It's not need to be super fancy because we want to meet.
Exactly.
And I think that especially we Swedes need to meet outside, not only in the bar all the time, to look to the people in south part of Europe, for an example, instead of just be outdoor. So that's what for me, and also that what I see in the cities now, it's a combination of living, staying, working, have some more close to each other. And so stop doing. I'm sorry, but perhaps I know too little. I'm not so. For the moment, I'm not upset of everything or nothing.
I understand. So if you will be the mayor and you can add one thing real in the city, what will you add? Also related to urban planning and design. Like create one rule or add one thing.
I think I will repeat myself. Area to meet in a simple way, but also to simplify in a way that secured streets. In a way that
you mean like safety?
Safety with light, or in a way that it's not only for women, it's all for everyone, that it's that they feel in a way that it's open, in a way to ensure that.
Interesting. And do you have a favorite public space?
Yes, I think Hagaparken. And then also squares.
Like public squares? Why?
Because and also squares, and also railway stations, when people are meeting and are passing by, and just sit there and look at the people. You
see like the flow of people.
And and also to see what other people are sitting down, and hopefully some happy faces, and sometimes some sad faces. But that's, I think, in the public squares and also railway stations, I think that's my favorite.
So you like the flow of people, interactions, and so on.
And people are on their way and
rushing. Interesting. And Lotta, if you can decide to be something else, not like this human, what will you be and why? You can choose anything, like animal, plants, anything.
I've always said, and I think so too, it's a bird. Because it's easy way to go to new places, and especially if you look into the migrant that is traveling over the continents. And then I imagine to do stops and look in what's happening here, have a new type of berry or fruit to taste or something like that.
So you try to fly and try new things.
And helicopter perspective, learn new things. I think that's the way. But when I did a team activity many years ago, then we also said that if to choose for each other, then one of the team decided that there should be a lighthouse, because I was always spread the light, and I also was standing there to secure everything.
That's interesting.
And I said about well, first I thought it was super boring, and then I said,
no, but there is a deep meaning.
So I think so. That's
how do you lead now your teams? Like, what is important for you and your leadership?
For me now, it's to continue to develop in a good pace, because we have done a tremendous development the last years, and we have been very successful and worked hard for that. And now we need to have a combination of continue to do that, find new way of working, and also that we have the challenge with the resources, not finding the resources, and still want to need to grow the business. So that's and also to have to my management team have the opportunity to not relax, but to be a bit of relieved for a while, and then I'm like, okay, now we are going to Europe. Come on. Like, oh no.
Okay.
So I need to slow down a bit for the moment in a way, but also continue to look to new opportunities, because we have a lot that we want to do, and in parallel we are working more and more closely with our colleagues within AFRY, because I think for our customers, our business area will continue to grow. Yeah. But the biggest growth will be from our colleagues outside food and pharma. Infra buildings, for example, or advanced automation or something like that. So that's because our customers are also looking into a bigger picture now. So I think we have a very, very good potential for that as AFRY.
Yeah. Amazing. With all this that's happening in your life, do you have time for hobbies?
Yes and no. Sometimes I feel I don't have any hobbies. And then I understand that being out in the nature, go to concerts and so on is also a type of hobbies in that way. And but still, yes, I do some yoga, but unfortunately I'm not playing in any band anymore that I did, and that's something
you did before.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's something perhaps it's time to start up again. But,
yes.
But then it's then I'm a bit scared because I'm not that good as I was previously. So I need to be.
I mean, if you're enjoying, it depends. If you want to make money, then you need to be super good about that.
No.
if you want to enjoy, then that's fine.
I understand. So I need just to.
Yeah, I see you also love to do so many things, especially to grow up the business and take care of people. At the same time, you have your own family. So how do you find the balance between work and the life? What is your advice for us as well?
I'm very happy that I'm as a person is good at leaving work at work. Even if I'm could work very, very much. When I'm off, I'm super off. So, so that's and I don't know why. Of course it could be periods when I'm wake up in the night and oh my God, we need to do this. But it's not normally. I can really turn that off, and also it and also I think it could be a way because I grew up with migraine and had a lot. If I didn't sleep, I received super headache and was more or less dead for 24 hours, something like that. And I think that's even if that's not the situation anymore, I'm still I know that I need to just be off for a while. It could only be that I'm reading a book, taking a long walk with myself, and I need to be alone for a while. And this is not always that popular when you work a lot and travel a lot, and then during the weekends, can't you just leave home so I can be alone, or I can enjoy myself with taking a long walk by myself, or just to read books. So this is I'm not forcing myself. In a way, I need it and I do it. And then it could also be that I have 1,000 projects and meet a lot of people during the weekend, as well as you are super tired on Sunday. But it's so for me, it's during the Corona situation. It's been I've been could have not meeting that many people in the way due to the situation, but read a lot of more books, have a lot more walks, and do more things at home in another way. But now, really longing to meet people, to be in another context. So I'm a bit of a mix there, and I'm super good at doing nothing.
Really?
Yes, I am.
Just sitting and chilling.
Yeah, no one trusts me, but I'm super good at doing nothing. You
don't feel guilty that the time flies and I need to do something in my life.
Yeah, And then I think, okay, I need, it was not that important because now I need to do nothing.
So doing nothing is something as well.
Doing nothing is for me is just mainly could be out walking. Also, in a way, being out in not having an agenda for today, for the day, take it as it is, or is it just sitting in the sun with a cup of coffee, or reading a book, or just
doing nothing.
I'm good at doing it.
Okay, great. So the last two questions. The first one is going to be that you give us 3 takeaway messages to me, to the listeners. And I also, if you don't mind, will make a video for the Instagram. Is that fine for you? So I will just record and then you can answer. So what are your 3 takeaway messages for us?
That we are in the situation that we are living longer and we are wealthier and have the opportunity to choose. And I really ask you to choose wisely in that way. And also that we have a good opportunity to do that. And I think, and again, I think that's my main message. And I will blur it up if I say anything else. But it's, I think that's my key message in this case.
Thank you. And the last question is going to be you asking it to us. What is your question to me and to the listeners?
What is important for you to improve the quality of life? And what is quality of life for you?
Okay. It's an interesting and big question.
It is.
Yeah. But Lotta, I'm very happy to talk to you. And thank you so much again for coming, for giving your valuable time to record this episode. And keep up the good work.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Good talking to you. Looking forward for the next.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. You learned something new and also got inspired by the guest. Don't forget to share the episode on your social media and recommend it to people you think they are really interested in this topic. Thank you so much again for giving your valuable time to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif. Keep up the good work. Keep loving cities.